Hi, before we even start the video, I just want to say this really isn't clickbait. I do just go over what I planned my funeral to be, and I really just launch into it. So that is what you are going to get. And also all this to say, this is subject to change over my life. It's just like if I die tomorrow, these are my wishes. I don't know what that sound is. The gates of hell? Okay, here's the video. Hello and welcome to Faith Evolving. My name is Clare, and I had to plan my own funeral for a class assignment. Grieving is for the living, not the dead. But I want to put the fun back into funeral. Now, this isn't to keep people from crying if they need to, but to offer a few laughs in between the sobs. So hear me out when I offer you this idea. Costume party. Everyone comes dressed as their favorite memory of me. This gives people an icebreaker to start swapping stories and encountering their own grief a little bit and working through it instead of just throwing on their most neutral clothing and going through the motions. Honestly, I want my funeral to be something that I'm sad that I can't attend. It's like that Nick Miller quote.
My funeral is my time to shine.
So now, on to the programming. First things first, who is going to officiate? Well, hopefully I don't die too soon. I don't know of anything imminent, possibly causing my demise. Granted, on my way to class today, I was walking along, and you know how buses drive really close to the curb so they can stop? Well, I got sprayed head to toe from a tire of a bus, encountering like the ice snow sludge that happens in January, and had to walk into class with like little chunks of ice on me and say, "Can I go home and change?" So you could die of embarrassment at any moment, but I don't know of anything that's going to kill me. So yes, hopefully I don't die too soon, but when the time comes, I honestly would be fine with a stranger presiding over my funeral. I don't think that this is a common desire, but I just hope that my family and my friends don't have to be in charge of anything other than their own grief. But I also understand that leading a funeral could also be a cathartic process. So I'm like not one way or the other, just whatever takes some of the pressure off. I have many pastor friends or people studying to become pastors who may be pastors by the time of my death. And so my idea is if there's like a couple of people, like a rock, paper, scissors tournament to try to figure it out, or if they want to work together, just whatever is low stress, not too hard, you know. I want to people please people, even in death. But prior to service will be a visitation. I'm technically not having a funeral because my body won't be present. And in my class, Death, Dying, and Grieving, we learned a lot about these sorts of things. If there's a body, it could be a funeral. If not, it's apparently a memorial service. And you're probably like, why did you take a Death, Dying, and Grieving class? It wasn't all funeral planning. That was towards the end of it, but just like learning to confront mortality and how to die well, and walking alongside of people through that. Something especially for people who are becoming pastors to be at least a little knowledgeable in. Good class for just being a human being.
Quick reminder, we are dying.
So, at my memorial service, not funeral, my family will process in with my body. And by my body, I mean a piggy bank filled with confetti. And again, hear me out. There's intentionality here. For the longest time, I've wanted my ashes to be in a piggy bank. However, I'm no longer planning on cremation because it's not environmentally friendly. So, planning on doing something else. And it takes a couple of months. And so my body won't be there. I won't have ashes to put in this piggy bank. So, confetti, like a piñata, but we will not be breaking it open at my funeral. Please, no bats at my funeral of any kind. Baseball bats, Louisville bats, you get the joke. Now, the hope is people will get over the initial shock of the piggy bank, at the visitation. They can get a few laughs out to lighten the mood before the more somber experience of the service, but also because my body won't be present, I'm hoping, as long as it's not like too odd for people's brains to jump the hurdle, that they can imagine me as the piggy bank as something tangible to help in their grief. So like if they need to say things to me, say it to the piggy bank. And also it might break the ice or it might discourage you, okay? The piggy bank thing really could backfire, but I am not willing to give it up. During the procession, the hymn will be Servant Song. I just generally really like this hymn, but also I think it is a good song to kind of set the tone for communal mourning. The presider will do a brief welcome. At this point, they can kind of talk about the piggy bank and my body on behalf of my family. And at this point, they can say where my body is. There's a thing where you can have your body rapidly decomposed and turned into soil so that you can be planted as a garden. And I grew up gardening a lot with my parents and vegetable gardens, and I just feel really at home doing that sort of work in the summertime. It's one of my favorite things. So I want to be soil because it also gets back to the whole ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I'm giving back to the earth. So once the soil is ready, my family will plant a garden with me, either on the anniversary of my death or my birthday, depending on when those line up, when they get the soil back, whichever one comes first and is weather permitting. From the welcome and the explanation, the presider will then read Ecclesiastes 3 in full. Not just the part where it mentions ashes to ashes, dust to dust, or the part about where there's time for everything, because guess what? I'm emphasizing context, even from beyond the grave. So here's the reading in full, because it's so beautiful and deeply, deeply human. It's some of my most favorite chunks of scripture. There is a time for everything, a season for every purpose under heaven. A season to be born and a season to die, a season to plant and a season to harvest, a season to hurt and a season to heal, a season to tear down and a season to build up, a season to cry and a season to laugh, a season to mourn and a season to dance, a season to scatter stones and a season to gather them, a season for holding close and a season for holding back, a season to seek and a season to lose, a season to keep and a season to throw away, a season to tear and a season to mend, a season to be silent and a season to speak, a season to love and a season to hate, a season for hostilities and a season for peace. What do workers gain from their efforts? I've reflected on this while learning all the kinds of work God gives to humankind. God has made everything in harmony with the divine, yet although the Almighty has imbued eternity in our soul, we are unable to grasp the totality of God's work from beginning to end. What I do know is that what is best for us is to be happy and enjoy life as long as we live. And God's gift to us is to eat and drink and find fulfillment in our work. I understand that whatever God does will endure for eternity. Nothing can be added to it, nothing can be taken away. God makes it this way to keep a reverence for the sacred alive in us. That which is has always been. That which is to be has already been. And God calls the past back into existence. Yet I notice that under the sun there is crime where justice should be, and the corrupt where the good should be. I told myself that God will judge both the good and the corrupt at the appointed time for every issue and for every deed. I told myself that God tests us to teach us that we're just like animals, for our fate and the fate of all living things are the same. As one dies, so dies the other. We all have the same breath, and we have no advantage other forms of life. It's all a mist of air. We all go to the same place. All forms of life are from dust and return to dust. Who knows whether our soul really goes up while an animal's soul goes down? In short, I see there is nothing better than that we enjoy our work, for this is our destiny. Who among us can see what will come after us? That's in the Bible. That vulnerability is in the Bible. Now, I originally didn't plan on reading this whole passage in this video because it took up time, and also because no spoilers for my funeral, but I couldn't resist because it's just so good. It's so good. The presider will then give a short reflection/sermon on the scripture. However, absolutely no conversion attempts at my funeral. You hear me? Mark my words. I will haunt you. I will haunt you. The presider can even mention, or I honestly kind of encourage it, that yes, the service is going to be very Christian in nature to honor my Christian faith, but I understand that a good number of my friends and my family are not Christian, and I'm not asking them to be. I just wanted to have a little sprinkle of it because it's important to me, you know? Nevertheless, whichever pastor friend of mine or unfortunate stranger who is presiding will have to address and wrestle with the challenging parts of the scripture in their message. I want to bully my loved ones in death just a little bit, have a little fun, okay? Sue me. I don't think it'll go well because I'll be dead. But in all seriousness, I can't think of anything better to honor me than earnestly struggling with the biblical text and having a little bit of existential dread over it. So from there, it's eulogy time. Yes, the main event. I want whoever gives it to be honest about my life and my legacy. I'm not perfect. I don't want to be painted as such. Granted, I also don't want to be completely bashed at my funeral, just airing out all my dirty laundry. You know, at least some good things. That's always nice. Mainly, I just want people to smile and tear up in my memory. From there, it's slideshow time. This is a mandatory slideshow or slideshow equivalent, because if it's in the future and there's something else going on. And it's mandatory because it's set to music. And that song is Elijah by, you guessed it, Rich Mullins. Do I mention Rich Mullins about once every 3 videos? Yeah, am I gonna stop? No. Now, unfortunately, you, a random viewer and or subscriber, probably won't be invited to my funeral because of parasocial relationships and things, but I do ask that it be live streamed. I also ask that whoever is doing the live stream, especially if they are a stranger who doesn't know me, gets like a little gift basket or something, like a gift card to their favorite restaurant, because the emotional labor of live streaming a funeral, especially for someone who you don't know, is a lot. And I want to acknowledge that for whoever that is. The presider will then give a benediction, and the family will process out with my piggy bank body to the song Hold Us Together, but with the candlelight version. For the people who know what that means, will know enough to make that happen. I don't know why I'm being so cryptic about it. We just changed some of the words. So like instead of my brother's keeper, my neighbor's keeper, and it's just better that way. So doing that. And then there will be a reception with bagels. There is no symbolism for the bagels. I just really like bagels. So that's going to be my funeral. And then the burial, a few months later and such, will be a chance to honor continuing grief, because grief doesn't just end after a funeral. And so when I'm used to plant a garden, I don't want it to be a big old service, but I do ask that there be a scripture reading. Some of the earliest tablets of scripture that we have are these silver scrolls that have a funeral blessing on them, which reads, "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace." Also known as Numbers 6:24 through 26. So I'd like that to be read, please. And this has been the video. I'd like to end it the way I began it, with referencing New Girl. There's a fabulous episode of season 2 called Chicago, which really engages and captures grief in a really honest way. I actually rewatched it when I was writing the script back in December for my final. I was just blown away by it. So I would honestly really love to make a video analyzing that, but don't want to waste my time if you wouldn't be interested in it. So let me know. That might be another summer video because I watch New Girl a lot. It's not even my favorite show. It's just the show that I instinctively rewatch when I want my brain to turn off. It is. So let me know in the comments down below if you'd be interested in that. And while you're there, maybe give this video a like, subscribe, give me money, maybe on Ko-fi, or buy my merch. Yeah, thanks for watching. Okay, bye. Just kidding, not over yet, because I realized I forgot to promote that I was recently on the Reclaiming the Garden podcast. Big thank you to April and Anna for having me on. Go check it out. Talk all things seminary and faith journeys and a little bit more about Hildegard, and it's great. So now, for real, okay, bye.